if you are a software engineer, then I'm sure that you have heard about the reverse proxy. So in this video, let's see what are reverse proxy. Okay, so suppose here are a simple application. Now here are the users and here is the server. So users are accessing the web application. So the call is directly going from the users to the server. So instead of the user being directly access the server, so in the middle of the users and the server, there is another server which we called as reverse proxy. Now, what are the benefit of the reverse proxy and why you should use them, and what are the functions that this reverse proxy does? So the first work that this reverse proxy does is that the load balancing. So suppose that you have multiple servers, right? Now from the users, the call is going to multiple servers so that one single server is not getting overwhelmed, right? So that load can be easily equally distributed across multiple servers. Okay, and another benefit could be, suppose that for some reason this API to this server goes down. So reverse proxy is smart enough to understand that, and it will not send any further traffic to the API 2. Instead, it will only send the traffic to the API 1 or API 3, basically what are the server that is active and that is healthy. So this way, your even if your some of the servers goes down, your application still stays functional and your user doesn't notice this. Now the next work that this reverse proxy does is that, suppose that you have multiple web services, right? Now you have multiple web services for different work. Now how do you distribute the traffic across them? So reverse proxy can help you that. So whatever the functionality that user is trying to access, based on that, it can redirect the user request to respective microservice. So you have 3 microservices. So based on the whatever functionality that user is trying to perform, based on that, we can route the request to the specific microservice. Another thing is that the reverse proxy can help you to perform deployment with zero downtime. So what I mean by that, suppose that you have an old version of the application, right? Develop some new functionality and you want to release a new version, right? So earlier, without this, if the reverse proxy was not there, what you have to do without the reverse proxy, you need to take a downtime from the application. So the application will be down for some time until you have deployed the new version. So what you can do is that now instead of the downtime, you can deploy the new version, that is the version 2, silently in the background. And once you have tested it, then what you can do, you can just change the configuration in the reverse proxy, and now the 100% traffic will be going to the new version instead of the old version. And similarly, if you see there are some issues, you can just change the configuration in the reverse proxy itself, and it will send all the traffic back to old version. Another thing you can do is the caching. Okay, so you can implement the caching at the reverse proxy layer. So specifically those API calls which are accessed very frequently, reverse proxy will maintain a cache for that, and this will help you to remove the database and server load. And reverse proxy can help you in rate limiting as well. So suppose that specific, so you want to set some user rule like, at an user can make at most maybe 100 requests in a minute. So you can set those rules in the reverse proxy itself, right? And that way, whenever some specific user IP makes too much request, you can just directly block those requests from the reverse proxy itself. So those extra requests will not go to the application server itself. So this way you don't have to maintain rate limiting on each and every layer. Instead, you can just maintain the rate limiting in the single place. Now, another use case is that suppose you have built some new functionality, right? You want to get some user feedback on how the users are liking the new functionality. Okay, so you do not want to do a full-fledged deployment of the new functionalities. Instead, you want to gradually deploy the new functionalities, right? So you can configure the reverse proxy in such a way that maybe only 10% of the users will route to a new server which will have the new services deployed, and the rest of the users will access the old service, right? So using this, you can configure the proxy to split the incoming traffic. So it randomly routes 90% of the request to the stable version, and rest of the 10% it sends those requests to the experimental version. So this way you can easily perform the alpha beta testing. And apart from that, the main functionality of the reverse proxy is to hide the server identity. So outer world does not access to the server itself, so they access to the reverse proxy.